Republican Party for President of the United States saying he wants to repeal the Affordable Care Act with absolutely no other plan in mind, which means for all young voters watching right now, if you are 26 and under, Donald Trump, if he becomes president, wants to ensure that you don't have health care.
Bullshit. It's all bullshit.
Welcome to Unsanctioned.
The Republican Party of Bay County is endorsing a left-wing Bernie Sanders supporter for the mayor of Panama City Beach. Florida's Voice did some digging into Stuart Teddimer. It turns out he's been a Democrat since 2001 and moved to Panama City Beach in the last couple of years. We see it time and time again. Democrats will run for nonpartisan races in our great state of Florida and change their registration to Republican to deceive voters. His only political donation was to Bernie Sanders' presidential campaign in 2016. So why did the Bay County GOP think it's a good idea to endorse Stuart? Not to mention, Stuart is running on an anti-growth and an anti-tourism agenda. He wants to eliminate tourism but doesn't realize that the city is funded by the revenue brought in by tourists. But what can you expect from a guy who's barely lived in the city himself? If Stuart is successful with his left-wing agenda, that means Panama City Beach residents would be hit with an ad valorem tax, aka property taxes, which under the current mayor, the city does not impose. With the cost of homes and insurance going up, is that really something a conservative would be pushing? Absolutely not, and that's because Stuart Teddimer is your textbook definition of a liberal.
Oh, yeah, I can't say I disagree with that, John, and that's some great reporting from Brendan Leslie from Florida's Voice. Check out Florida's Voice when you get a chance.
Yeah, welcome to another episode of Unsanctioned. This is Unsanctioned Florida, episode 11, March 30. Tomorrow is Easter, so it is Holy Week, and this is our Holy Weekend entering the day of Jesus' resurrection. And we have a great show, right? So resurrection-themed show, I guess. Not every story should be resurrected, but we're going to do our best to talk about the news here from Florida and Central Florida and Osceola County. Let's get started with a quick prayer, and then we'll get right down to the show. Lord, yesterday we didn't celebrate, but we commemorated your crucifixion and the ultimate sacrifice that you paid for all of our sins and for all of humanity. Today, probably in the last 2,000 years, it's harder to be a Christian today than it has been since the time of your disciples. And we look at the government today with making today Transgender Day, yesterday banning religious symbolism with Easter, which just makes no sense whatsoever. It's not obviously a day to celebrate bunnies and eggs. It's all about the ultimate sacrifice that you made. And in the White House, by a supposed Christian, we have this just crazy things coming out of the White House, and it's unbelievable. So the Christian faith is under attack. Our families are under attack, and we know who the source of all these attacks are. We pray that you inspire men and women to stand up and do the things that are necessary to protect our country, to protect our faith, and to protect the ultimate sacrifice that you made for us. So, Father, we pray that you bless us, bless our community, bless our country, watch over us, strengthen us, inspire us, and get us motivated to come back to you, most importantly, and to be the same type of people that created this country with your Judeo-Christian values. In your son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
All right, man. So we have a heck of a show. Like we said, tomorrow is Easter. And this is always my favorite holiday. Easter is my favorite holiday. But it's been a great week overall, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're seeing people stand up and do great things. And it's just, man, so much to talk about, right?
Yeah,
it feels like
really
it's been
is.
a long time. But it has been a long time because it's been about 10 days since we had a unsanctioned Florida show.
And we are a couple of days late. So.
Yeah, we're a couple of days late. So 10
late.
days. Usually it's 7 days between the shows, but we had a little bit of extra time here. Yeah. So let's get right down into it. What do we got?
Let's talk about the state of Florida. All right, John. So the Democrat Party of Florida is worried about money. So
Yeah.
they
Well, let's go through the headlines.
they're not sure they can even compete this year. So
Yeah, in the headlines it was Dems are broke and broken under Freed. So it's no wonder that they're not raising any money because they can they're as laughable as Biden is. Oh, they picked their 3 leaders. The leadership team for Biden's party, right?
Yeah.
It's people that worked for Charlie Crist, a whole bunch of people. It looked like a team of losers, like not just because of their pictures, but
I mean,
their
is anybody
resumes.
surprised? I mean, come on.
I mean, they don't have. Yeah, they don't have. It's slim pickings on the Democrat side in Florida, and they went to the worst. They didn't. They didn't pick the best.
No.
It's the ultimate slap in the face. Anyways, they're saying that Florida was in play. They were going to work hard in Florida. They proved that they're not serious about Florida at all. They have no intention of winning Florida.
No.
They know Florida's lost. They're going to go focus elsewhere, and that's why they sent a whole bunch of second stringers to manage the leadership of one of the largest states in the country.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
crazy. It's crazy that
But it shows they have very little faith in winning Florida. I mean,
None. It shows. I mean, I think they picked one of my daughter's classmates from the 5th grade to be their communications director because she was more clear than everyone else in the Democratic Party. I mean, you have either a crazy woman screaming obscenities or you have a crazy man screaming obscenities. But those are the only 2 options that the Democrats are offering for communications. I'm not sure that that's going to work for the people of Florida.
Well, if you look at their chairwoman, here she is. That's the bride of Dracula. The day after Tuesday's municipal elections, the Florida Democratic Party chairperson, the bride of Dracula, Nikki Fried, said the party had a tremendous night, showing that Florida continues to be in play. But other Democrats disagree, John. And Governor Ron DeSantis, who said Democrats are the best opposition party we could ever ask for. Number 1 is money, and number 2 is money, said Democratic consultant Dick Batchelor, and I think longtime residents of Central Florida know who he is. He's a former state senator. This is what he's saying the party needs this year. Number 3 is Democratic registration, and number 4 is to get out the vote. But to do that, Democrats need to have the money on hand.
The funny thing is, he's like, number 1 is money, number 2 is money, number 3 is registration, and they're like 3rd place in registration in Florida, even though there's only 2 parties.
They're so far behind. Far behind.
They were ahead. So, I mean, it was very, very short while ago. There were more Democrats than Republicans in Florida. Now they're 850,000 registrations behind. That's all in the last couple of years. That's an amazing feat. Not only that, but then you look at Osceola County, which is a blue county historically, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe not historically, but certainly over the last several election cycles has been hard blue, getting bluer.
Yeah.
And now Ashley Moody had 27%, I think it was, right?
Yeah.
And DeSantis had 22%. So they blew it out of the water. There's only one reason that we did not convert the county, school board, whatever, and it was because of these bad actors, bad rhinos that we had, establishment people, that they interfered with people winning their elections. People like that former state rep and that county commissioner over there who's supposedly a Republican.
Yeah.
But in the end, right? In the end, this county is becoming red. It's not just becoming red because of the state Senate seat, which is going to go red here hopefully in November, but it's also going to go red on some school board seats. It's going to go red in a variety of ways because Trump is going to bring home the bacon when it comes to turning out the vote.
I really pray that that's the truth, John, and it really does happen. And I really pray that our state GOP stays out of some of these races and actually talks to the constituents that live here and get involved in these campaigns in a positive way. Not through money, not through the mailers and the stuff we saw in the state 35 race.
That was ridiculous, and that candidate is as clueless as ever. Obviously, she refiled to run in that seat. It was the Republican voters who rejected her. They don't want her.
No,
I mean, take
nobody
a hit.
wants her.
Read the room. They don't want you. If you're not wanted, don't do it. But she's running again. I don't know that the state party is going to get involved in her race again to the degree. They're not going to throw away another $2 million, I imagine. At least I would hope.
Yeah.
That would be a tremendous waste. With $2 million, by the way, we could have won every seat for a conservative in Osceola County with $2 million. Instead, they threw it away on somebody who would never win because Republicans were digging their heels in the ground, refusing to go along with it.
Yeah.
As even though they were dragged along in the primary, Republicans refused to come out and vote for her in the general, and they're not going to vote for her again. It doesn't matter if she wins a primary or not. She will never be the state representative, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, at least if things go the way that they already went.
They say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And I think it's insane if they do put the money behind Erica Booth one more time. And I'll tell you, John, I think the reason why we didn't see a red wave in Osceola County this last election cycle prior to the special election was because some of these candidates, and they were strong, good, conservative candidates, did not get any kind of endorsement by the party or the governor. So I'm hoping that changes this time around.
I mean, yeah, the governor, one picture with the governor would have turned a whole bunch of these school board seats.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. The GOP didn't get involved to help in any way with our school board candidates. We're hoping that changes.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. It's not that we don't want the GOP here winning elections. We want them here winning elections. Right? And Erica Booth was a non-starter from the very beginning. She's never going to win that election.
No.
Because they don't want her. Everybody knows she's a fraud. So you can try to force her, but she's not going to, the people aren't going to go for it. The same people who said no to her last time are not going to say yes this time. You know? So, I mean, that's a tough situation.
You know, if the state party had taken 30 minutes and looked at her voting record while she was a school board member...
No, they did that. They did that. That's a cop-out.
You would know that she is not a conservative.
That's a cop-out for the party, though. They knew that. They knew that. Her and her husband are not good Republicans. You know, they may speak good Republican behind closed doors. I have no idea. But certainly their voting records don't demonstrate it.
No.
What they say in public doesn't demonstrate it. The level of corruption that they get involved in my opinion, doesn't speak for it. I mean, they're a mess.
Yeah.
And they'll always be a mess. There's no way that they can clean themselves of that, at least not in elections, right? They can beg for forgiveness from Jesus Christ. That's why he's going to be, we celebrate Easter tomorrow. But certainly in the world of politics, they're a non-starter at this stage. And so if you follow, here's where they should have taken those 30 minutes. Come and talk to the voters of Osceola County. And you find out that those people were non-starters. They're not, doesn't matter. Obviously, like somebody said to me, hey, listen, this guy's going to put in a whole bunch of money and erase me. I was like, listen, they just spent $2 million over there.
Yeah.
And they couldn't win. So you think money's going to win? No, money's not going to win here. Why? Because Republicans are activating here in Osceola County. They're working hard. They're coalescing. They're together. They're getting smarter. Candidates are working together. It's going to cost the Democrats a fortune to hold on to these seats. And it's going to cost the establishment a fortune to hold on to these seats. And there's no way that they're going to cover them all.
No.
Right? It's going to take a huge act of corruption to cover them all. And I'm not sure that they have the capacity to do that this time around.
Well, time will tell, John. That's for sure. That's for sure. All right, so more plans land in Florida from Haiti amid that ongoing political crisis going on down there. We do have a video. Here it is.
Floridians rescued from Haiti is on its way to Sanford right now. The flight was supposed to arrive here yesterday, but it never left Haiti. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday. I'm Luann Sorrell.
And I'm Marlisa Goldsmith. Tonight, there are signs all around the airport welcoming people home to Florida. This is now a live look at the Orlando Sanford International Airport, where that plane is supposed to land sometime this evening. Fox 35's Marie Ettinger joins us live from there. And Marie, the governor just arrived too.
He just wrapped up our discussion with him. What we've learned is there are 14 Floridians who in just an hour and a half will land safely here at the Orlando Sanford International Airport. That, though, is out of 360 Floridians and 501 Americans who've said they need help. And it's something that the governor says he's been efforting for days now. He says that they are trying to put boots on the ground to get people to actually show up, going door to door to save these people, get them over to where they need to be in order to get out of Haiti, and then fly them here to what you're looking at right now at the Orlando Sanford International Airport. That's what we've seen today. People set up, prepared for this arrival right now. In the same area where I'm standing, there are people here ready to receive those Floridians. They've got food. They've got any help that those people may need. And the governor says he is promising to get those people straight to their door here at home. Now, when I mentioned those those are the people who have gone through this process already. That means that their passports have already been approved, that they have been verified. But the governor says that going through that process has actually been somewhat difficult. He says they've been dealing with a lot of bureaucratic hurdles in trying to get these people home. Here's what he said earlier.
Now we do have confirmation, finally, first flight is in the air, wheels up. And they're heading our way, and I know they're working on more as we speak. We've got this resources are here. People are going to be able to get what they need in a variety of ways, and we think that that's important. There are more people that need assistance. I can tell you that it's not as simple as just showing up with seats on a plane and all of a sudden everything's hunky-dory. There's a lot more that goes into it, both on the ground and in navigating the bureaucracy.
Yeah, so...
You know, why is Florida doing the federal job, right? And I'm not saying that we shouldn't be doing it. Florida's doing the right thing here, but they're doing the right thing because nobody's taking care of their job on the federal side. You're telling me that the state is flying out, grabbing their citizens and coming back to Florida? What about the federal government? Aren't they the ones supposed to be protecting citizens? They're the ones with an embassy. They're the ones that are supposed to be doing, at least to charge the fares that they should have there. They're the ones that should be doing this. But instead, what they're doing is creating a transgender holiday during Easter. Yeah. I mean, it makes no sense. What a failure. I mean, we're basically, if the United States had not been a 200-year-long strong government driven and controlled by strong men in the past, then we would essentially be a failed state. Joe Biden is a failed state president.
Yeah.
That's what he is. He's a failed state president.
These are the results you get when you have a president like Joe Biden who truly isn't running things, isn't running the country. He's shown multiple times over this weekend that he is that guy. And we'll get into that more on the America show, some of the things that happened this past weekend. But, you're going to get results like this. And, yeah, of course, the state's going to have to step in and do the work that the federal government should be doing but isn't doing because we got a guy like Joe Biden.
I know, and we can't leave our citizens the way that they left them in Afghanistan, right? If we had known earlier about how terrible of a President Biden was going to be, we probably would have flown to Afghanistan and saved Americans there. Yeah. Instead, they abandoned Americans in Afghanistan. Actually, a whole bunch of them did, right? Like Corey Mills went and saved a whole bunch of Americans. Yeah. So, they left it up to individuals to go and save people while the federal government was drowning in stupidity.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. All right, so John, this week President Trump called on Republicans to challenge DeSantis' lone Florida supporter in Congress, who is Representative Laurel Lee. She previously served as the state's chief election officer and refused demands to audit the 2020 election. And I think this is a move by President Trump to get out the rhinos, John. He asked for this. There's a couple of people that they're talking about jumping into this race. I think DC Drano on X and Laura Loomer, but Lee, she had won a crowded GOP primary 2 years ago in a red district, served as Florida's top election official under Governor Ron DeSantis, and resisted calls by a faction of vocal Republicans and Trump supporters to do a complete audit of the 2020 election. DeSantis at the time also rejected calls for that audit of the election results that showed that President Trump did defeat Joe Biden by 3 percentage points. While in Congress, Lee has been a reliable Republican vote, although there have been times that she has split from the stances of some of the state's more conservative members. Lee, for example, is one of just 6 Florida GOP members to vote in favor of the $1.2 trillion omnibus spending package that kept the the American government open. So
I say get rid of her.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
my opinion.
Get her out.
And it's not because she endorsed DeSantis. I couldn't care less about that. I wouldn't primary somebody because they endorsed a competitor. I think that's the news being dishonest about the purpose here, right? I don't think she just voted for a $1.2 trillion omnibus bill that is going to break the United States financially. And they're talking about who he endorsed or whatever. No, if she's going to pick a war with Trump, Trump is going to drown you, right? Trump will finish you. He will end you. He's the ultimate counterpuncher, and he knocks you out with that counterpunch, and he does not let go of your throat when he has it. He will make sure that you cease to breathe. That's how he is in a fight, and he wants to put her out. Okay, well, hey, you started that battle. But I could not care less that she endorsed DeSantis. I think that's her right? It's her right to endorse. If I had wanted to endorse DeSantis, I would have endorsed DeSantis. The reason that we need to get rid of her is because she's a disappointment to Republicans, and of course she won in a crowded field. She's the former Secretary of State. She was supported by DeSantis. She's been up there, right? But now Trump is getting involved and saying, "I want to put somebody else in that seat, and I'm going to support that person." If he supports somebody getting in that race, and if it's DC Drano or if it's practically anyone, I don't know. Laura Loomer is like, she's polarizing, right? She has some faults. She's maybe a great reporter. She does a whole bunch of good things. She's dishonest, but she puts people off too with her abrasiveness. So I would put somebody that could win a general election. Right, and I would. Why? I'm fine with her being primary. That's what we want. These people who are left of the right, right, but a little bit right of center to get primaried and put Republicans in there who will not vote for this specifically, who will basically follow the Byron Donalds, the Matt Gaetz path. And if you're not going to follow that, then Floridians are going to help you get out.
Yeah, absolutely, John. And the article tried to link. President Trump calling for a challenger to her support of DeSantis, and that's not the case.
Yeah, they just want to cause the war.
He didn't call for a challenger for her until after this $1.2 billion vote that she just did. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see him call for challengers to other rhinos who voted for this $1.2 billion, like Carlos Jimenez.
Yeah.
So watch out for that. I'm sure that's coming soon too.
Yeah, and they deserve it. I'm not gonna be offended that he's calling for people to be primaried.
No.
Everybody calls for somebody to be primaried.
Yeah,
right.
We've seen that happen millions of times.
Matt Gaetz has multiple times called for people to be primaried, and they're like, "Oh, well, he endorsed the other guy." That's the news. That's the news trying to create beef between DeSantis and Trump. And I think that there should be no beef there.
They want to keep that going.
Yes, and we want to win an election. That's what we want.
All right, John. So a conservative watchdog, or so they say.
So when we were prepping for the show, we threw up this headline, right? And we're like, conservative watchdog. What's next? I asked, conservative. Okay, let's go through. What's next? Go ahead and go next.
Yeah. All right. So there's Keith Gross. That's who they're calling for. A conservative watchdog group in Washington says the Republican challenger to U.S. Senator Rick Scott used his campaign to sell books. All right.
Ooh, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, it sounds really terrible.
Yeah, but terrible.
The Americans for Public Trust PAC.
Oh, it's a PAC. It's a political action committee. Oh boy, oh boy. Yeah. See, they almost had us there for a second. Yeah. We started laughing because we both read it out loud at the same time. And yeah, it's a PAC. Okay, so this is probably a PAC that's aligned with Rick Scott, right?
Yeah.
Good. There's no problem here.
Yeah.
There's no problem. This is the way that the game is played. No big deal. But when we're prepping for the show, we want to make sure that we're just speaking the truth. We're not trying to do propaganda, right? Now, is Gross gonna beat Rick Scott? Doubt it.
No.
I don't know.
Probably not.
Now, Keith has a whole bunch of money, right? But he has spent, I don't know how much, maybe I think he spent $1 million or something like that.
Yeah.
But he's going to have to spend 20, right? And he should have spent it already because his election day is July 11th when absentee ballots go out. That's his election day. And if he hasn't spent that money by then, forget it. It's going to be gone. And he needs to spend that money. He needs to spend way more than he's spending. And I'm not sure that, I don't know. I don't know what his plan is. If he's going to do like what Erica Booth did and just send a bunch of mailers, that's not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it, right? So he needs to start throwing money at counties, throwing money at RACs, throwing money at the FRA, throwing money at the RLC. He needs to get Republicans on board and fast. And that hasn't happened. So
I know he did sponsor a dinner, and I did see a lot of paid activity from him on X.
Yes. But that's not enough, man.
No,
that's
it's not
enough.
It's not.
You need to get the groups, because if you can convince, like, let's say members of the FRA, you convince members of the RLC to vote for you and support you, all of a sudden now you know that your message is working. These are the people that work elections. They know what's going on. They're the ones that get asked, who do I vote for? You know, I mean, that's what you need to start. Hit those groups. You need to hit them hard.
Yeah.
That means you need to throw money in those groups. You need to sponsor those groups. You need to help organize those groups. And he's not doing that. He's going to play like the mass. I mean, right now, might be the right play, but that means he bypassed the groups, and I doubt that you can win a statewide election like that. I met him. He's
not
a nice
like
guy.
that. You have to go to the ground level, you know, the RLC, the FRA. These are the boots on the ground. These are the grassroots groups that you need to reach.
These are the soldiers. Yeah, these are the soldiers, and he didn't. I'm not sure that he went and he attacked the soldiers the way that he needed to in time.
Yeah. So.
And there's nothing wrong with Rick Scott, right? Like, Rick Scott's a great governor. He ran against Mike McCarthy. I'll always have respect for Rick Scott. He tried to change the status quo, so I have respect for him. He's a good senator. It's hard to beat somebody that's, you know, I mean, like, look at Anthony Sabatini, right, in his race with Daniel Webster. Sabatini would be a tremendous congressman. He'd be Matt Gaetz #2. They're aligned in most ways. They see things the same way. Matt Gaetz is a great fighter, smart guy, charming guy. Anthony Sabatini is like a buzzsaw of truth, right? And he will slice through tables and walls and everything to get the truth and to tell you the truth and to do great policy. But Daniel Webster's there, right? Now, Daniel Webster, I know that Sabatini's been calling him, saying that, you know, he's a swamp guy, he's whatever.
Yeah.
Webster has been in office for 50 years or something like that.
That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous amount of time.
Yeah, and he's ill right now, right? So he's not even, maybe he's not up for the job. But he's not the most offensive guy. He's not somebody, he's not like a Chuck Schumer. He's not a Mike McCarthy. He's not a, what's the guy, the turtleneck guy? Okay, he's not Mitch McConnell, right? He's been a dependable.
But he's close, Republican. John. I mean, 50 years.
He's on the edge.
50 years?
In age. I mean in age. But I mean that in corruption-wise and in terms of what kind of Republican he is. Yeah. He's not super offensive,
because
right?
that 50 years offends me. I mean, you've had 50
years
years on the public dime.
That's what, to me, in my opinion, that's what Sabatini should have spent a ton of his money on. 50, and he has. And to be fair, he has, because you see all his ads. He's like 50 years, 50 years, 50 years, 50 years, and then like I think that one ad I even saw like a picture of him in the State House from like 1970 or something like that. Yeah. So it's like the guy's been in politics his entire life. And
he first got into politics the year I was born.
Wow, 75?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's incredible. That's incredible. He is the poster boy for term limits. So, I mean, if you needed anything to go after this guy for, it's right there.
Yeah.
It's the amount of time he's been on the public eye.
He's a great opportunity to put Sabatini on the back burner so that you can extend your career by 2 years after 50? Yeah. Come on, man. Come on.
You got to go. Just like these two went, John. The Zieglers, they are suing now to stop the release of the rape investigation records. These two, man, they I'm sorry, but they have done so much to ruin so much. And what I'm talking about is you, Bridget Ziegler, you have ruined Moms for Liberty forever, I believe. And I don't think there's ever any coming back from what you've done. But anyway, former Florida GOP chairman Christian Ziegler and his wife Bridget, the Sarasota school board member and co-founder of Moms for Liberty, have filed a lawsuit seeking to bar the release of records involved in the husband's criminal rape investigation. The once powerful Republican power couple sued the city of Sarasota and the state's attorney's office specifically to prevent the release to the media text messages they sent to each other recovered by police during the now closed investigation. And, we kind of discussed this a little bit prior to the, going live, John, and I agree with you. I believe this is more to protect her than anything else.
Well, it's to protect. I mean, because she's a politician, right? She's on that board, on that Disney board, and she's got a bright future ahead of her.
I don't think so.
Well, you would think, right?
I think it's over.
Well, she did have a bright future, and so I think they're trying to preserve what's left of their brand and move forward, or maybe it's just not. Maybe it's things that are just not appealing, and they want to. not those chaired. And you have to remember, it's a conversation between a wife and a husband. So, I mean, come on. I mean, I agree. They've created a problem for the Republican Party. Yeah. They made us all look like fools, right? That happened. There's no doubt about that. But, like communications, you're not allowed to testify against your spouse, right? And that might be what this is really about. Basically, they might be having a conversation where one is saying something about the other, and that may not be fair. And it's just, that's their private thing now. They're out. Right. They're out. Right. So, I'm not sure that.
Well, she's not out. She's still there. She's still there. Out. She just deceived, all conservatives across the state. Anyone that believed in Moms for Liberty has been deceived by this woman who has lesbian tendencies. Let's put it out there. Let's say what it is. They were involved in sexual deviancy. All right, they were having threesomes regularly with a drug-addled woman. This is unbelievable to me. The best thing that these two could do is go away for at least 5 to 10 years, but I don't even think that would be long enough because this will come back to haunt you. You will never be trusted by conservatives ever again. That's it.
I mean, it's terrible. Here's the thing: you get caught. People, there's a certain level of arrogance for people who think that they're not going to get caught. Yeah. Right. And I think that's, Chris more than anybody, like apparently he thought he would never get caught, and I don't know, you act crazy when you shouldn't, when you're having those kinds of, I don't know, it's just, it's
I don't know, and we're hearing the headlines right now with Diddy and sex trafficking.
And that's the thing, that's exactly, that's, you're right on the money. We can't trust anybody. You can't trust anybody just to be a good person, a decent person. And I'm not saying that they're bad people. I'm not even casting judgment. I don't know them well. I don't know Diddy, except that, he always looks like an idiot. Every time I see him, he looks like an idiot. He looks like an idiot.
He looked like an idiot when we were kids.
And now this happens, right? And power goes to the head, and you need to start electing leaders who have a little bit more moral fortitude so that they can withstand the temptation, so that they can do the right thing as opposed to doing the wrong thing.
Absolutely, because this sexual deviancy that's we're hearing about in the news nationally, it's here in the state of Florida too, and the Zieglers have proved that. So sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway,
okay.
All right, moving on. Talking about sexual deviancy, anti-groomer group demands the Tampa mayor resign over sexual pride event with children, John. And once again, it's one of these unbelievable events that we've seen before. We're
just talking about the sexual deviancy. Here's the thing. Why is this? Why would anybody listen? Same thing with what's his face. I think that the Buddy Dyer was having some kind of message or whatever. I kind of skimmed over. I didn't pay attention to what was going on.
Yeah.
But Biden right now making it Transgender Day on a Saturday while we're mourning the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, awaiting his resurrection. He creates Transgender Day, and then the day prior on Good Friday they ban religious imagery from the Easter egg hunt at the White House.
It's unbelievable the slap in the face that this administration gave to all Christians across the United States.
Yeah. On Easter.
Unbelievable.
On Easter. During Easter. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. All right, so if you are offended easily, close your eyes, okay? Because here it is. All right? This is what kids got to see at this Tampa Pride event, all right? Half-naked men walking around and popsicles in the shape of genitalia, okay?
I want to, here's, what are the chances, that's the most disgusting thing ever.
Yeah,
what are the chances that there is a child that would want a popsicle, and here parents are buying this type of... The parents who bring their kids to these events should have their kids taken away. They're not worthy of being parents. They can't be trusted with their children.
You can see in the one picture there's a little girl with her mother, and the mother has a big smile on her face while this naked man is standing in front of them. It's unbelievable. But would you believe, John, that it is the anti-groomer group Gays Against Groomers that's demanding that Tampa Mayor Jane Castor resign over this Pride event that happened last Saturday, all right? Good for them.
I really like that group. That group provides credibility of decent men or decent women who are homosexuals who are fighting against this kind of preying on kids.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to do, because they know they're the only honest, ones out there who are, they're doing their lifestyle, and at the same time they're not going to try to harm children, and they know
they're not out there being sexually perverse.
They're not being perverts essentially,
Yeah.
and apparently the mayor, as far as I'm concerned, is a pervert to allow this to happen in the city.
Yeah, well, social media posts showed what some parents consider age inappropriate outfits, objects being sold with inappropriate language, and if you can see these pictures, you obviously see that's the case. But anyway, young children were present at this event, John.
Yeah.
They were, and
I mean, they should even consider prosecution of this mayor. I would. I mean,
Yeah.
he's basically creating a dangerous situation for children, allowing it to happen, and he's the mayor. So,
Yeah.
I mean, arrest him.
Well, the Gays Against
I would
Groomers
be in favor.
co-chapter leader Mercedes told Florida's Voice that the group witnessed dozens of children at the event, which featured a parade and a festival. Mercedes said, although there was an over 18 section, vendors that sold the items were on display in front of children. When you look around, there's kink and there's dildos. Do you really want that stuff around your kids? No.
Yeah, apparently they do, right? And these
Yeah.
parents do, and it's disgusting.
Yeah. So please resign, Tampa Mayor Jane Castor. Get out.
Remove him from office. I would remove him I would ensure the city of Hillsborough goes and files charges against that mayor for allowing that to happen. The deviancy, in front of a child, and if there can be any charge at all, go and do it. And this is the stance that I would take. If I were Governor DeSantis right now, you got 2 years, right?
Yeah.
He already has done so many great conservative things. Go on the offensive. Don't go out, right? Don't go out having been the guy that people were mad that you ran for president against Trump. Go out being the guy that fulfilled the mission that you've been doing the last 6 years.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Absolutely.
Right? Be the guy that you were for the last 6 years. Be a hero of conservatives. Go out there, attack the hell out of these crazy people, and forget about all the swamp people that are in your ear. Forget about all the people that give you bad advice. Go and follow your heart, because I truly believe that DeSantis is a man of conviction, right? And if he goes and he does that, everybody will forget any mistakes that he may have made politically, because they'll remember what he did morally.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing that DeSantis can do. Go out on attack. Get rid of these people, because
Yes.
it's one, what he could do. He has the power to go and attack these people and get rid of this immorality that we have, this craziness that we have, this danger to families and children that we have. Just attack it. Forget about the swamp. Put the swamp away. Don't let them near you.
No.
Right? Don't let the swamp near you at all. Don't let the people like those people that we're talking about out there in District 35. Don't let those people near you. Because they've only brought you down. They've only lost you points with the people. Those people are bad news. They're an anchor. They're the millstone, right? They're the proverbial millstone around your neck. So don't let that. Take that yoke off of your neck, and get away from those people out there in District 35, who are just have nothing but bad advice. And I'm just using them as an example because this is our county.
Yeah.
But there's got to be people like that throughout the state. Get rid of them. Go on the attack. Go do the right things. Go do everything that you've been doing the last 6 years, and you'll go out as a hero the way that you should be.
Absolutely. Take out Tampa Mayor Jane Castor. Take out Mary Jane Arrington, the supervisor of elections in Osceola County, who's broken election law twice.
Yeah, there's
she's still
plenty
there.
of reason to remove her from office. She violated state statute. Remove her from office. Remove Mary Jane from office.
Yep.
Send the FDLE down here to investigate the conflict of interest of Brandon Arrington, who's the chair of CFX and a county commissioner, voting probably in both organizations to benefit one another at great personal gain, in my opinion, in my estimation, in my speculation. So
not just for himself, but for his family.
Yeah, for his family and for other family friends and so on. So I mean, go out, do the hard stuff, do the stuff that nobody else would do, because, you know, like there's a scene, I think we've talked about it, I think before, right? The scene, what's that, in that movie Troy, that Brad Pitt movie, and you know, there's like a little kid who comes up to him and he's on his horse and he's like, oh, you're gonna go up against so and so? I would never do that. And Brad Pitt says to him, that's why nobody will remember your name, right? Yeah. I mean, if that's what it's about, go out with a bang, man. Go out. Get rid of all these bastards who are harming our kids and our families, and forget the swamp.
Yeah, and get rid of this one right
Not
here.
Not that you're in the swamp. I'm just saying. I know that there's people who are in your ear because we've seen you at the rodeo with them.
Yeah.
All right. So those are that's
and
the swamp.
They're the only ones that can get close to you.
Here in Osceola County, when you come to Osceola,
they're the only ones that can get close to you. So this next story, John, we're going to play the video first, and then we're going to put the headline.
Okay.
So watch this.
Orlando City Commissioner Regina Hill has been arrested. She's accused of fraud and exploiting the elderly. Hill turned herself in to FDLE this morning. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kirsten Delgado. Now, Hill was booked into the Orange County Jail on a handful of charges this morning. And this is a look at her mugshot. We have live team coverage for you right now on this major story. We begin with Channel 9's Shannon Butler live for us at the jail. Shannon, you're waiting to see if Hill will post bond.
Kirsten, yesterday, Regina Hill was indicted by a grand jury. This is a look at her indictment right now, facing 7 charges, including that exploitation of the elderly. Now, here's what happened earlier this morning. Hill's attorney had made a deal with FDLE to allow Hill to turn herself in. She did so at their headquarters near downtown Orlando this morning. She was then brought here to the Orange County Jail, where she remains right now at noon. Now, this all stems from the case Channel 9 was the first to tell you about a week ago. Hill is accused of exploiting a 96-year-old constituent. The accusations say that Hill forged documents to not only take the woman's home, but to also become her guardian. That, then, the accusations say, allowed her to take $100,000 of the woman's money to spend on things like facelifts, dental surgery, even her insurance. Now, Hill has denied those accusations to us by phone. That's what she told us last week, but there has been no statement yet from her office since her arrest. Now, here at the jail, we are waiting to see when she posts bond and if she will come out of the Orange County Jail. But sources have told me that today, during her arrest, she refused to give folks her personal information, including what her address is right now. Part of this arrest had a judge during a civil lawsuit tell her she had to be removed from the home that she was living in because of these pending charges and that civil case that has been filed. So right now it is unclear if she will be able to bond out anytime soon, but we of course are waiting here. As for FDLE, they will provide more information to us and to the public today at 2 o'clock, and we will of course bring that information to you live starting on Eyewitness News at 4. For today, we are live at the Orange County Jail. Shannon Butler.
All right, so there wasn't really any new information that came at 2. No. It was basically a rehash of what happened, but you know, right there, Governor DeSantis, right there is someone you should remove from office.
Well, she's going to be
what
removed
more do
any
you
day.
need? Yeah,
she's going to be removed any day now. I mean, like she's going to be out here in a minute. But I mean, that's an easy one. She got arrested. I mean, the same thing like with Fred Hawkins when you remove Fred Hawkins. That's an easy one. The guy was charged with a felony. He was impersonating a cop. There's a video of him. There's everything that you need. Well, with the supervisor of elections in Osceola County, you have you have all the proof that you need. She violated state statute twice. Then she lied about it on TV.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. That's plenty of reason to get rid of her. Why are you acting like it's nothing?
No.
Get rid of her.
No.
Get rid of her. You'd be a hero to Osceola County if you did that. You know, people would be embracing. I'm talking about Democrats and Republicans. Nobody wants a woman who is incapable of telling the truth when she's caught doing something, especially as serious as violating the state statute.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, John, we talked about, I was going to put the headline up after the video.
Yep.
So let's look at the headline from the Orlando Sentinel while all this was going down with Regina Hill. Who is Regina Hill? fierce advocate for district has long been dogged by controversy.
So this is great. Okay, and here's the reason why we're putting this up. Because we've pointed out many times, Scott Maxwell has this unhealthy obsession with Carolina Amnesty. He is all, he can't, that's all, he falls asleep with her and her, with his research of her on his breast, right, like sleeping like this and having nightmares about Carolina Amnesty and what she may be doing. And then he wakes up, Carolina, like he's like that, has this unnatural obsession. And then if there's any moment when he's not thinking about Carolina, who's he talking about? Glenn Gilzine. Glenn Gilzine. Oh my God, a black conservative. I can't handle it. I can't handle a black conservative. Hispanic conservative. Oh my God. Those are like his kryptonite, right? The minute he sees a black or a Hispanic conservative, he just melts down, right? Only Trump is worse, apparently, in his world. But then you have this woman who apparently, allegedly, right, is stealing money from a 90-something-year-old woman. And how do they write the headline? Who's Regina Hill? Fierce advocate for district has long been... A fierce advocate is somebody who steals $100,000 from an old lady? Come on, to get a facelift? Come on,
and
man.
obviously there was enough evidence to warrant an arrest. So, I mean, come on.
Come on. If this is, I'm not an investigator. I have no idea what the facts of this case are. But if this is true, and the Orlando Sentinel writes a message like this, they already had enough information when they wrote that headline to know that this is a crappy headline.
Yeah.
It's unserious journalism, period. That's what that is. It's nothing who writes an article, who writes a headline like that about somebody who just is being accused of stealing $100,000 from an old lady? Gosh, man.
Well, that's the things you can count on from the Orlando Sentinel.
That's exactly what you can count on.
As far to the left as possible.
Hey, but you know what? We're going to be talking about another news organization that's same exact crap.
Yeah.
Same stuff, right?
Yeah.
They do all these puff pieces because the politicians pay them, and that's not what the intention of the free press. Those are not the people that have the right to free press because they're not actual press. They're propagandists.
Yep, it's
right?
not news you can trust.
Propagandist is not news. Those are not the same thing. But we don't have a real news. We don't have any real. If we had a real reporter, they'd be reporting on this stuff. Yeah. They would be reporting on what we're talking about, right? Yeah. We wouldn't be here doing this because the reporter would be doing it and we'd be at home watching TV and we'd be on the phone being, oh my gosh, did you see that? No, instead we're the ones talking about it.
That's why there is an unsanctioned Florida, so. All right,
it's unsanctioned news. That's what it is, unsanctioned news.
Yeah. All right, so before we move on to Osceola County, John, we have this important commercial from a candidate for state senate that we absolutely support.
Come on, guys.
All right.
Come on, guys.
Come on, guys.
Come on, guys.
Come on, guys. All right, John, to start off Osceola County, fateful decision nears for Split Oak Forest and Yarborough Ranch. And we already know what the decision on Yarborough Ranch was. That already came. But Split Oak Forest, John, they are bound and determined, Osceola County, Brandon, Arrington, to build that expressway.
Wait a second. So Brandon Arrington is behind this push for Split Oak, and he's also on the board. I mean, what's going on? What is Split Oak?
He's the chairman of the board of CFX.
And now he's trying to build this road through Split Oak.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't that raise any questions to any journalist? If there's any journalist at all out there, wouldn't it be curious to you that you have the chairman of CFX trying to build roads while he's also the county commissioner and he's voting on both of the issues that are being discussed here?
Yeah.
I mean, don't you gotta wonder what's on the back end for Arrington? Why is he pushing so hard? Why would he be using taxpayer money when the taxpayers have already completely spoken out on this issue? They do not want this. Yeah. But he's going against the taxpayers, stealing the taxpayer money essentially to fight a legal battle for this road while he's sitting on the board of the organization that he's fighting for with taxpayer money.
It's absolutely disgusting.
I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe I don't understand it. I'm just posing the question because maybe I don't understand what's going on. But if just my instinct tells me that Brandon Arrington is probably one of the most corrupt human beings in Osceola County, and there's so many people in the race for that title.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
There are so many people involved. That is a battle royale for championship, and Brandon Arrington is probably near the top of that hill, is what I'm saying. Yeah. In my opinion. That's just an opinion.
Or the Arrington family in general,
I mean, each one of them.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, because I think they probably, kill each other for the rights to eat a baby or something. Those people there's something wrong with the water where they must have been raised, because I don't understand how they feed off of one another. I don't know if it's a competition or what it is, but there's 3 of them in office. One of them violated state statute 2 election cycles. Then she lied about it on the news camera to all of the people who she violated state statute with. Then there's Brandon Arrington, whose words we just spoke about, and then the wife. Okay, Osceola County's very own Cruella DeVille. I mean, come on, this is what. My goodness.
Yeah, it's time to end that dynasty, just like that commercial said. It's time. Enough's enough.
But, we would love to have you on the show.
Yeah.
Right? We'd love to have you on the show. We'd love to talk with you. I mean, believe me, we'd say the same thing. Yeah, at least initially, maybe you can convince us. I'm going to be like that guy. You see that meme where it has the sign, "Convince me otherwise" or whatever? Convince me otherwise. I'd be happy to be convinced otherwise. I mean, that's the impression of many people in Osceola County. Yeah. And so I think it's fair that you come and you answer, because here's the one thing that you wouldn't be able to dispute. You are one arrogant SOB, that's for sure. And, and I'd love to say it to your face, if you give me the opportunity. But then you can tell me exactly that I'm wrong, and you can tell me that I'm the arrogant SOB and that I'm wrong, and you can feel free to say what you'd like to say. Yeah. I'd be happy. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah.
You're right? And that'd be honest.
So.
And that'd be a pretty unsanctioned conversation.
Yeah.
Or any of you.
Yeah, any of them.
Anybody, let's say anybody out there in District 35, the crazy candidate that put her name in for District 35 again, that person can come on the show. The person running in District 5 unopposed right now, not forever, but right now running unopposed over there for County Commission, who's an absolute just, I'll save it, for when you actually come on the show. Oh, you want to know something funny? You remember that? Oh, never mind. I don't know that I want to talk about it yet. But we had some text. We sent out some text yesterday for the campaign, and we got a response back, which I thought was hilarious. And then there was a little exchange. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about that.
So. We'll talk about it in the next show.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. We'll talk about. Yeah. Maybe we'll see. We'll see. But they're saying that we all know what happened with Yarborough Ranch. It's going to be preserved. It's going to be saved. But the decision.
No, did I step all over that story?
No. No, you're fine. You're fine. But the decision for Split Oak isn't going to come until May.
Yeah.
But supporters of Split Oak have a very bad feeling about what's going to happen there, and I do too. I do too. Yeah. I believe the Yarborough Ranch, saving Yarborough Ranch is going to be the trade-off for this road going through Split Oak Forest, and I think other people agree with that.
I mean, it's a farce to think that, we saw some other, or we're going to talk about it, right?
No.
The development with the lizard, right? So
No, we're not talking about that today.
Okay, so so listen, if they wanted to, they could stop a development, right? And they would stop anything for this or for that or whatever.
Yeah.
The bottom line is, this is all about who your lobbyist is, what politician you paid off. It gets so many things done. That's what this is really about.
Yeah. Well, John, as you know, Osceola County is the fastest growing area in Central Florida. It's keeping that title, and new developments are on the way, John, and we have a video. Here it is.
New data from the U.S. Census shows more than 15,000 people moved to Osceola County from 2022 to 2023, bringing the population total to nearly 438,000 residents. With that growth comes a lot of new development, including what's being called the Ovation Project. These are renderings of the property that would include multiple hotels, shops, lounges and bars, restaurants, and attractions like a Ferris wheel. Views from Chopper 2 show where the property is planned, on mostly vacant and abandoned property on US 192 in Kissimmee, near I-4 and not too far from Disney. Documents show a company called Mayor's Group Partners has submitted a community development application for the project in Osceola County, one of the first steps in making the plans become a reality. In Kissimmee, Megan Mulatto, WESH 2 News.
All right, so we were just talking about District 1, weren't we?
Yeah.
Well, there it is. And, the commissioner that's from District 1, and I'm sorry to say this, she is a Disney hoe.
New data
I don't
from
even
the
know how to
US
put it any other way, and why that video keeps popping up. But anyway, I'm glad to see they're doing something with stuff out there, but what we really need is housing for the employees that work at Disney. We don't see that coming anywhere.
Well, they're building some in Orange County, right? I think. But
they're building a couple, but they just did a story, and this wasn't part of our segment, but I'm going to bring it up. They did a story about how there's so many of Disney workers that are homeless right now, that are sleeping in their cars, they're sleeping on the streets, and that this new the passage of this law that Governor DeSantis signed into law that tells people that they can't sleep on the streets in front of buildings and stuff is hurting those Disney employees, which is a complete farce, a total lie. Has nothing to do with that. If Disney, all right, is so concerned about their homeless employees, why don't they put up some housing that their employees can afford?
I think that they're working on a couple of development projects for specifically Disney employees and stuff. And but why don't they? My question is, why don't they? They have all this land down 192, right?
Yeah.
And they were talking about only having 900 acres or 600 acres left in Kissimmee that's developable.
Yeah.
But why not take? You have all this land with all these wasted hotels, right? Why not build all these projects that you're building, even all these? Go tear all that stuff down and build nice, beautiful neighborhoods there. Go tear it. You have all the infrastructure there, right? It'd be very expensive. It'd be a lot of redevelopment. It'd be all kinds of stuff. You know why they don't do it that way? It's because it's much cheaper to buy land from the county commissioner who owns it than to buy the land from all the random owners of all the developments already completed on 192 that are no longer in their prime.
Yeah.
And so that's why they don't do that. But that would be a great option. Why not go? You can go buy 25 acres off of 192. It's going to be very expensive, but go ahead and do that instead. Because we don't need 100 hotels from the 1970s.
Yeah.
Certainly that's why they're all empty. That's why they're all full of people smoking crack or with bed bugs. All these hotels with bed bugs down there. You don't need that. We no longer are an economy based on the hotels for that, because they're not even all full. I don't even know if I wonder what the occupancy is for all those hotels.
Yeah, that's a good question.
But we could redevelop the land that we have, which isn't going to put more stress on the same infrastructure that we have. Because what we keep doing right now is taking all the cheap land far away, putting houses on it, putting everywhere there's space. Putting houses there. 15,000 people, we need housing, right? But what we don't do is build any roads or any access to any new areas. Yeah. So it's 15,000 on the same roads. We have traffic. It's a disaster, and it's not a disaster that was not unforeseen. Yeah. Everyone saw this coming, and it's just the fact that
for
decades. Yeah. But the county commissioners are so. What are they, man? It's just, they're such zeros. You know how their logo looks like a zero? That's exactly what they are.
They're so corrupt.
Yeah. They're corrupt, and
their number one interest is how much they can earn while they're in that seat.
I believe 100%. They're only concerned with their own personal standing in every situation. That's the way they decide. They decide things.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so do we want to talk about this story here, or do we want to move on to the last one?
Which which story here? No, yeah, let's go to the last one.
All right, so John, as many St. Cloud residents know, St. Cloud was targeted by a cyber attack on Monday, and cybersecurity expert says residents could be next. We have a video. Here it is.
Cyber attack is affecting many city departments in St. Cloud. West 2's Megan Mulatto spoke to a cybersecurity expert who's warning people to stay vigilant as the city races to fix this issue.
Officials with the city of St. Cloud say they're working with an incident response team to clear a cyber attack. In the meantime, they say residents may have trouble reaching the city by phone, and some payments may have to be made in cash. But city government, police, and fire rescue remain open and operating. President and CEO of Cybersecurity Solutions, Horatio Masonette, says it's common for small cities to be targeted.
I mean, they know that they have less funds to put up big barriers, big defenses.
He says the attack likely came from an email or software.
Last year, the FBI for 2023 reported the most exploited way to access these organizations were through phishing attacks to employees, going into a fake website, which then employees provided a username and a password. And then they're able to use those credentials to launch the second stage of the attack.
Masonette says the attacker could have been a person, a group of people, or even AI.
So you have artificial intelligence that's able to just quickly query all over the world and identify a specific organization that's vulnerable to a specific thing and attack it.
His advice to locals, stay alert.
Now they know what email addresses can expect emails from the city. So now they will try to become and try to mimic as if they were the city to contact you about, we're going to cut off your electricity because you haven't made a payment.
And when in doubt, he says don't click any links, but instead go directly to the websites in question. In St. Cloud, Megan Mulatto, West 2 News.
All right, John, so you see there, it was not me. It was not me. It wasn't me.
You didn't hack into that system at St. Cloud, did you?
No, not at all. Not at all. They said in the video that somebody at City Hall clicked on a link they shouldn't have clicked on, and I think this is basic. I think most people know that. If you get a strange email or a strange text with a link in it, you don't click on it. Come on.
Well, I mean, what's funny about this is that now apparently their computer systems are in the same state that their streets downtown are. It's an absolute disaster. Everything they touch, obviously, it's like a politician I know. Everything that he touches immediately turns to brown slime. Yeah. And the city of St. Cloud is like that way too. I mean, it's like... this is what happens when you hire, if the person that you hire to run your city, you wouldn't trust with your kids or with your house, then why would you put them in charge of your city?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. 90% of the people that work at City Hall, and I'm not just saying the city workers, I'm saying the people that work at City Hall, around 80 to 90% of them do not live in the city of St. Cloud, John.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's strange.
Yeah. Yep, been that way for a while. Anyway, that's all we have for tonight, John.
That's it. Yeah. So we are 1 hour, 6 minutes. Thank you. God bless you. Please enjoy Easter tomorrow. We celebrate with you. We pray for you. Pray for us. What a great time. Great time to be able to rise up to the occasion, be a patriot for your country, be a Christian for your father, and to do the right thing. Make sure that you're constantly in contact with other people who inspire you, who want to help you do your part for the country and for your faith.
Yeah.
And stay with us.
Especially in the face of what the Biden administration just did.
Just now. I mean, right now, that guy should be resigned. You know what? This tells me, and I'm going to say this, this tells me, we'll end with this, that the Biden administration has no intention of even allowing an election to happen, because they know that this is going to lose them that election. Yeah. This one action will lose them the election, and they're still doing it. It makes me very worried that we're not going to have an election at all. I just don't know what else. I don't know what they're thinking, right? And then we saw some... well, never mind. We'll end there. listen, let's pray for each other and let's pray for our country, okay? God bless you. God bless this country. Get out there, do your part. Reach out to us if there's anything that you want to talk about, anything that you want to put on the show. We're going to have a great Unsanctioned America next week and a great Unsanctioned Florida. We're already piling up the stories. That should be great. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Like and share the show, please.
And if you live in Osceola County, remember the FRA of Osceola County is having their monthly meeting this Monday night at the St. Cloud Tavern. CD9 candidates will be there, and they will have a candidate forum.
One more thing. Also, absolutely. So tomorrow night, a candidate forum for your congressional primary candidate, Republican primary. Come out to that. That's going to be tomorrow night at what time?
No, Monday.
Monday night at what time?
6 p.m.
6 p.m. And it's going to be where?
At the St. Cloud Tavern. Great food. And a great time.
Great wings, for sure.
Yeah, great wings.
St. Cloud Tavern, 6 p.m., your Republican primary for the Congressional District 9. If you live in Osceola County, that's your district.
Yeah.
So these are the guys that are running for the primary, Republican primary. One more thing I just wanted to say. Thank you to General Flynn. Next weekend, we're taking a caravan to go see General Flynn and be at the movie premiere for his movie. So come with us if you want to come. Reach out to me. Let's go. Come join us. It should be a great time. And maybe we'll get a book signed, a little fun with General Flynn. So join me, contact me. And I'd like to thank General Flynn. He endorsed me this past week. He has been so gracious.
Yeah.
He just did a great job. We forgot to play the video for that, right?
Yeah, but if you have not seen... Yeah,
we can end it with that. Okay, we'll end it with that. And then I also want to thank Grant Cardone, the billionaire Frank Cardone, who also endorsed me. He put out a great video. I'm so appreciative. I'm humbled. Listen, the people who are fighting for this country and who understand that this District 25 in Osceola County is a flippable seat. It's the most flippable seat in the entire state for the state Senate. Get involved, reach out to us. So let's see, is that it? Maybe if you just hit play.
Well, no, not yet. I got to do something. But definitely. If you have not seen this video with John where he's talking with General Flynn.
Watch the interview. It's an interview. It's a full-length interview. So go down. I'll pin it to the top so that people can go watch it. It's all over the social media channels, but please do watch it. It's a great interview. You really see this guy's a patriot. He's served his country for decades. Then he gets out, he retires. He thinks he's going to continue serving his country as he was Trump's national security advisor. And then immediately the left begins to attack him, and you realize that there's a lot going on. And the movie's going to explain to us what happened with him, why they attacked him, what he knew. So please, please, please get ready to come watch this movie. If you want to come with me to go visit a little VIP session with General Flynn, reach out to me. That's going to be April 6th. So April 6th, we'll go out, watch the movie, have a little meet and greet with General Flynn, and then come back home. So we'll end it with this little endorsement from General Flynn, and then we'll see you next week. Don't forget to like and share.
Yeah.
I love to just talk. I love to talk at the grassroots level because that's how we're going to save this country. We're going to save it one county at a time, one family at a time, one person at a time. It's like when I talk to, 5,000 people or 10,000 people in an audience, I'm not looking for all of them to transition or find themselves. I'm only looking for that one, because all it takes sometimes is one person to change the world. And I have been blessed to be around people that are like that. And I think that I really do believe that you're one of those people, because you have a passion and you have a desire, and frankly, you have the leadership. I know that you have the leadership about you. So